Negative exponents. Negative exponents are fractions and decimals, and all of these fractions and decimals exist between these two numbers on the number line, between 0 and 1. It's hard to believe that so many numbers can exist between 0 and 1. In Math 7, we're going to look at negative exponents only when they're associated with a base of 10. So our base of 10 means that we would have a 10 raised to an exponent. That's what a base 10 would be. Let's look at a base 10 raised to the negative 3. So we have 10 to the negative 3 in this example, and we want to get rid of this negative 3. We want to make that a positive exponent. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make that 10 to the negative 3 into a fraction. And the first thing we're going to do to set up our fraction is to put a 1 in the numerator. And then our denominator is going to have 10 because that's our base. But what we're going to do is take that negative 3 exponent, and when we move it down to the denominator, we can make it a positive 3. So 10 to the negative 3 is the same thing as 1 over 10 to the third power. Let's convert 10 to the negative 4 to a fraction that has a positive exponent in the denominator. So we do that by setting up a fraction that has 1 in the numerator, 10 in the denominator. We change the exponent of negative 4 to positive 4 when we put it in the denominator. We can set this up in expanded form to look like 1 over 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, which is the same thing as 1 over 10,000, with 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we can convert that into decimal form, and you can divide that on your calculator. 1 divided by 10,000, and that would equal 0.0001. 10 to the negative 2 would be 1 over 10 to the positive 2, which would equal 1 over 10 times 10, or 1 over 100. So as a decimal, that would look like 0.01. Let's say we're given a fraction that has a base 10 raised to the second power in the denominator. Well, you should be able to recognize that 1 over 10 to the second power is the same thing as 10 to the negative 2, because we're going to take our exponent, make it negative when we bring it back up. Let's convert 10 to the negative 5th power to a fraction that has a positive exponent in the denominator. We'll start off by setting up a fraction with the numerator of 1 and the denominator of 10. When we move the negative exponent down to the denominator, it becomes positive. So our answer would be 1 over 10 to the 5th. That is also equivalent to 1 over 10 times 10 times 10 times 10 times 10, which is equal to 1 over 100,000, and in decimal form, 0.00001. Now the next question or problem is 10 to the negative 3 multiplied by 10 to the second. So we're going to go ahead and multiply these just like we would any other two numbers. We check to see that both numbers have the same base. So both numbers have a base 10. So then we know that we can multiply by adding the exponents. So when we multiply by adding the exponents, we don't change the base. So we get 10 to the negative 3 plus 2, which is just equal to 10 to the negative 1. Now if we restate 10 to the negative 1 with a positive exponent in the denominator, it would look like this. 1 over 10, or 0.1. Thank you for watching.